Hello everyone, welcome to the Builder Experience session for Fusion Agentic Applications. We are back for another LinkedIn Live session. Super excited to be here. So whether you're a business user, whether you're a citizen developer, or whether you're a hardcore software engineer, this is the Builder session for you. And you're going to need to wait to the very end. We're going to enable all of you to get started building Fusion Agentic applications today. Let's jump in and get started. So let me walk you through a little bit about what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to define what Fusion Agentic applications are all about. Significantly more than just standalone agents or agent teams. We're going to make sure there's a clear understanding of the value proposition of agentic applications. Then we're going to go through the full builder journey. From defining the outcome that you want to achieve all the way through deployment as a runtime artifact in Fusion applications. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to show some demos and actually build some agentic applications, so that's going to be fun. And then again, stay to the end, you're going to be fully enabled and be able to start building agentic applications today. Let's jump in. Okay. Let me start with where Fusion applications started, or Fusion Agentic applications started. So when we defined Fusion applications, we went back to what I call first principles. And what I mean by that is we thought about and decided what should a agentic application be. It should start with it should behave exactly the way we do when we're trying to solve a problem at work or at the office. We start with an objective, an outcome that we want to achieve. We assemble a group of specialist people that collaborate, they work together, they communicate, and ultimately they achieve the objective that they're trying to achieve. Fusion Agentic applications are exactly the same thing, except we bring together a team of agents. Each one has a specialty. They collaborate, they share information, they communicate, they have memory, they work 24/7, they move work forward continuously. And where we're headed, increasingly, they will do work autonomously more and more. And let me give you a drill down so you understand the difference in what we're doing from traditional agents to Fusion Agentic applications. And I'll start with a sourcing example. It's something that everybody can understand. So a sourcing agent may be powerful, and you can ask it questions. Maybe you ask it about inventory levels and where they're at. You might use it to create an RFQ. You might ask questions about auctions or sourcing events. But the entire ownership of stitching together the entire process and the cognitive load is 100% on the individual that is interacting with that agent. Fusion Agentic applications completely flip the script on ownership and the cognitive load being owned by the process itself. So let me give you the example of Sourcing Command Center. Now the Sourcing Command Center is a Fusion Agentic application, has an experience layer. It has a team of agents specializing in different parts of the sourcing process. So it'll have an inventory specialist that understands all of the inventory levels for every single hospital maybe that it's looking after. It'll have a counterpart specialist agent that looks at sourcing activities. Maybe it creates sourcing RFQ based on signals that it gets from the inventory specialist. And then it might have a specialist agent that focuses on auctions and communicating with suppliers and awarding winners. And that team works 24/7. They own the process. They understand all the trade-offs that need to be made. They have expertise built in. They have memory associated with them. And they move work forward 24/7. And more, they will behave and act autonomously based on how much you want them to achieve things without human in the loop. And so that is what agentic applications are all about. They're really about managing that cognitive load and owning the process end to end and moving work forward 24/7 and working with you continuously. So now let's get into what we're going to build. And I want to make sure everybody's clear. This is a builder series, so I want to have you understand what we're building. It's significantly more than standalone agents or agent teams. It's a full agentic application runtime system that we're going to be building. And it has really 4 layers that I'm going to walk you through briefly. First, we're delivering a full user experience and orchestration layer that interacts with you as the user. It brings forward all the agent activity, all the priorities that the agents are bringing forward for you to take action on. It monitors objectives based on the outcome that you've defined for the agentic application. It brings actions to you, and not just any action, priority actions. What is the next action that you need to take? And it tells you why. And then a full communication area. So if you need to communicate with suppliers, or you need to communicate with internal stakeholders, or you need to create a PowerPoint or a PDF document, all of those communications are contextually aware of what's happening in the business now. Then it has the magic layer, the decisioning and reasoning layer that I talk about, which is the agents that do most of the work. You have agents that will monitor the process, that will analyze and reason on what's happening, that will make recommendations, not just what you should do or what you could do, but the actions that you can specifically take in the application. It'll coordinate work, it'll prioritize all of this, and it'll move work forward, owning the process and managing the cognitive load of these very broad processes versus having the human have to do it. And as we go down this agentic bundle that we're building, and we're going to build today, things get more deterministic. Then we get into the tools and execution layer, where we have workflows that we can begin to automate a process. We have validation logic and tangible business actions that can be taken. We have human approvals, and we'll talk about this more later, but human approvals where if you need someone to approve a next step in a agentic application, we'll pause the process, we'll maintain context and state until somebody approves it, and then we'll move the work forward. And then we'll have deterministic policy models and policy nodes that can manage policy documents, standard operating procedures that you can document, and they will be 100% accurate every single time. And then we get into the runtime services that really are the magic of this entire system. It leverages business objects, all the transaction services that are part of Fusion applications. It handles security, identity, permissions, enterprise context. So we have a full knowledge store that you'll be building and full observability as part of it. And this agentic bundle is what we will be constructing and building today. And this runs natively as a runtime agentic artifact in Fusion applications. So you get the entire platform to run on top of. That's what we're going to be working on today. Now, if we zoom out a little bit and we look at the runtime agentic bundle that we've created, and we'll create one at a time, and you can start to identify the strategic processes that fit what an agentic application is best at doing, managing a broad set of work, handling a very broad cognitive load, and I'm going to give you one more example, and moving work forward continuously on behalf of the user and with the user of the system. I'll give you an example of Workforce Operations Command Center. Now, this can be used in any organization that has frontline workers, but it's particularly useful for healthcare organizations. So a head nurse maybe has 150 nurses that are working for that person. And their job is ultimately patient care. They want to make sure that they get the right nurse to the right patient at the right time with the right skill set. And that's fundamentally what they're trying to do. But they have a system that they need to manage. They need to worry about scheduling and make sure that they're fully scheduled and utilization is extremely high. They need to worry about absences and policies and union rules and payroll and time cards that are submitted, and are they meeting the policies? And that's a very broad set of activities and a big cognitive load for the head nurse to manage. But with our Workforce Operation Command Center, that work is consumed and done by the system. So the head nurse comes in and knows, hey, there are 7 drop shifts that you can just approve because they don't impact the schedule. and they don't have to think about what impact it could potentially have. The system does the work for them. So as we build these agentic applications that more and more increasingly do work autonomously, which is a big part of the goal as organizations feel more comfortable going down that path, we're transitioning from a traditional system of record into a system of outcomes. And that's the ultimate goal, is to deliver these outcomes in these agentic processes that we're building and we're going to build today. So that was the outline of what we're going to be constructing. So you understand it's significantly more than just a single agent or an agent team. It's a full agentic bundle that we're going to be working on. Now, let's walk through the builder journey or the builder life cycle that we're gonna step through. First, we start with an outcome. Like I said, we went back to first principles. We don't start with code, or we don't start with like a task on a screen. We start with a business objective. What goal, what objective are we trying to achieve? In the sourcing example, we might be trying to lower our supplier costs and reduce lead times. We'll define that as the business objective for the agentic system that we're building. Then we'll go into assemble, we'll add agents, we'll add the user experience to make sure the interaction is right, we'll add policy nodes and those types of things. Then we'll add context. Context is key. So context will be context from within Fusion application and structured and unstructured data from external systems. And we'll show you how you can leverage connectors that we deliver, that you can grab information from a bunch of different systems and bring it in to use it as context in your agentic systems or agentic applications that you're building. Then we'll spend a bunch of time, big part of the value proposition, and really if you want to achieve enterprise AI, you need to have a really robust testing and governance set of capabilities. And we'll spend a lot of time on that so you understand what that's all about. And then the payoff is we've built a fully deployable agentic application that we can deploy as a runtime artifact in Fusion applications. That's what we're going to be going through today. And we're going to start with a few demonstrations so you get a flavor for what we're doing. And so what we've done here is we've really focused on two opposite ends of the builder spectrum. So we're going to build the same manager coaching workspace. We're going to do it from a no-code perspective and a pro-code perspective. And so when I say no-code, I mean complete natural language. If you're familiar with some of the no-code platforms out there, maybe a Base 44 or a Bubble AI, where you literally are describing what you want to build, describing the outcome, describing what activities you want to have happen, and the system gets built. Except for, unlike those systems, we're building agentic applications that do the work with you and increasingly for you. So that's the no-code side. And then for the hardest of core software engineers, we're going to deliver a full pro code version where you can work in your favorite IDE like VS Code, leverage Codex or Claude Code. We're going to deliver an AI agent skill and a CLI, so you have full control of building a full agentic system in a fully automated CI/CD way. So we're going to jump in and we're going to start building. And whenever I start building, I put on my builder's vest. So we're going to jump in. We'll give a hat tip to all the real builders out there that work with their hands, but we're going to put on our builder's vest and we're going to jump in to building a system using no code. So this is AI Agent Studio. We're going to start with a no code prompt, and I'm going to describe the outcome that I want to achieve. Look, I want to build a manager coaching workspace, and I'm going to describe, I want it to look at goals, I want it to look at risks, I want it to look at check-ins, all of those things I've described in this prompt. And I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, and what's going to happen with this system now is it's going to start to assemble what is being built. So what happens here is that it's thinking and constructing what the application is that is going to be built. So it gives me a plan, and you can see the agentic application behind. It's going to build and construct the agentic application, but I'm doing everything through natural language. So it's going and looking at all the resources that I have, all the agents that I have, and it's assembling a team of agents, and it's going to ask me, hey, are you okay with this plan? And I'm going to say, yes, I'm okay. looks like you've defined it properly, and I can make changes if I wanted to. Now what you're going to see is it's going to start to actually physically build this agentic application, taking the agents that exist, maybe tweaking them a little bit, understanding not only the agentic background, and you can see it's starting to construct the agentic application. It's also building communications. So these communications are, whether they're email or whether they're PowerPoint templates that can be reused, and these templates are reused as part of the process. But what you're going to see here is I'm in both build mode and live mode, so I can go back and forth. Now I'm running the agentic application. It has the information, team health, it has the business as it is now. I can see all of the specialist agents that are working for me 24/7, moving work forward. I have an agent looking at team health. I have an agent that's looking at team goals. I have a communications agent that's looking at all the check-ins and follow-ups that I need to be working on. And this agentic application for manager coaching is looking at all the employee signals and turning them into tangible actions that I can take every single day as the outcome that I want to achieve. And so I'm going to go look at one of the communications that's been built. It's an email, and it's taking the context from the application, knowing that Priya on my team has done a great job in some of the recent escalations, and it's going to pre-build a contextually aware email for me that I can send to Priya. But now I want to continue to work on this application, and I'm going to go back to the build mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another template. So I have the ability to create different types of templates that can be reused over and over again. So I'm going to go to something called the Agentic Brain, and the Agentic Brain is the interaction where I can use all the natural language, and I'm going to ask it to build a PowerPoint for me. And I want it to be about team recognition, so it understands the context. And I want it to be about 1 or 2 slides. And remember, this is a template that I'm building. So I'm constructing the application. This template can be used over and over again. So I'm going to confirm it. It's going to construct that template for me. And then, and if I want to change it, I could change it. Now I'm going to go back into run mode, and I'm going to see how it behaves. And so I'm going to click on that template that I created. And it's going to pull the context from the live agentic application that I have, and it's going to generate a PowerPoint that I can download and use, or I can email out. But the key thing is that template is reused. Now, I could use my company themes and templates if I want to do that, but this has all the relevant information that I need that's contextual to what's happening in the business right now. So that is the interaction model that we are delivering from a no-code perspective. You'll be able to go in, leverage the agent brain, and move and build an agentic application that you can deploy. Now let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, to the pro code, software engineering, development side, and build an agentic application from this side. So I'm going to start in VS Code, probably the most popular IDE. We've delivered a VS Code extension. And so in this extension, you're going to see, I'm going to go to some of the commands. So these are all commands you can access via code. We have custom editors for the visual display. This is a huge difference. I'm going to connect through OAuth to a Fusion environment, and I'm going to pull down an agentic application just to show you what the visual custom editor looks like, so you get a visual display that you can interact with it. So I'm going to pull down Sales Commander, and you can see that I can now make changes to this app with Codex and with the skill, and I'll show you this in just a second, but I have this visual display here. Now, we deliver a full CLI, and I'm going to go into the help menu and show you all the fine-grained commands that are in that CLI. So let me go ahead and hit help, and virtually every single action, activity, command that you can do in the browser, you can do through this CLI. We're not generating JSON. These are low-level commands to build leveraging the CLI. We've also delivered an agent skill. So the skill tells Codex or Cloud Code what are the best practices, what is the knowledge that you need to have in order to build these agentic applications using the CLI. So this is hugely powerful, the combination of the two. So this is what the skill gives me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the skill, what can you do? You have a full skill, AI Studio skill. You have the full build CLI. What can you actually help me build? And again, this is very, very fine-grained activity. And so once I ask the skill what it can do, the AI Studio skill, it's going to show me that it has the ability to create all of these artifacts. And again, you can create, you can validate, you can debug, you can test, you can automate workflows, agentic applications, tools, connectors, communications, anything that you could do in the application, you now can do as a full software engineering project, leveraging Codex and working with it. Those are all the low-level activities. You can build everything here in VS Code. Now, I'm going to build the exact same coaching workspace that I built with no code, with pro code. Here's the prompt that I put in, and I could describe it in a little more detail if I wanted to, but I'm going to let Codex and the AI Studio skill start to build. And it's going to build this agentic application. Again, in full builder mode here. We're building the agentic application. And at the end, I get to interact with it. And again, we have custom editors here, so I can not only interact with it, I can run the live data right here. So this pulls all the live data in, and I can go back and forth in Codex, make changes, see what it looks like, make changes, add a communication, whatever I want to do. I am now in full builder mode. I don't have to go back to the browser and open the application. Everything is done on my desktop just like I would generating code. But one of the things that you'll see if you look at the bottom of my screen here, we generate tests automatically for you, acceptance tests as you're building the application. And this is the results of those tests. We will tell you how many AI tokens that you used, how many AI units, which is more important, that you used. We will go through, and you can take your live data and generate additional tests if you want to do that. We will look when you're using completion prompts, and we will look at LLM as a judge here, and we'll ask it a series of test questions to make sure it's answering those questions appropriately. The future of building agentic systems is going to be full automation from a code perspective, where the automation, the testing, the building is done at a code level. Now, one of the key things that we can do that nobody else I've seen doing is we can do something called a model sweep. And I just asked the system to go and look at all the models, the LLMs that I'm running, and make trade-offs as to cost, performance, accuracy, and saying, hey, where do I need to still use the premium LLM, or where can I downgrade to GPT-OSS, which is our open weights model that we give or we include as part of the system. So we can lower your costs. You can get the same results that you're getting with the premium model, but we can downgrade some of these models. So you have this model optimization sweep as part of this testing harness that can make those trade-offs for you so you can optimize your agentic application. That's the future of agentic application development. So what did we just see in the pro code version? Because I want to make sure everybody's really clear on how incredible this is. We started with a business outcome, an objective. We didn't start coding. We said, build me a manager coaching workbench that does these things, that solves these problems for me, that turns disparate signals into actions, concrete actions that I can take day to day to continue to build and enhance my team. We brought together a CLI, an agent, AI Agent Studio skill, but that's not the half of it. It's the working in a custom editor mode where I can interact with Codex. We can team together to build a full, robust agentic application and auto-generate tests and automation to make sure that I'm delivering a fully tested runtime system that will hold up in enterprise AI production environments. That's what we've gone through and just completed. huge. That's what you're going to, now stay to the end, you're going to be fully enabled to get all of this. Now, I'm going to walk through the remainder of the builder lifecycle and just explain some of the components of what we just built. And remember, we went through the 4 layers, and I'm going to walk you through those 4 layers as we go through the developer lifecycle. So this is the user experience orchestration layer. This is one of the secret sauces. You're building this when you build the agentic application. It comes with an outcome summary telling you exactly the state of the business as it is today, right now. As the system, these specialist agents are working 24/7. Increasingly more and more autonomous. They're working for you, they're collaborating, they're moving work forward. Then you have the action center. It's not just any random action, it's the next action that you need to take. And it's prioritized based on the intelligence that you've built into the system. Remember, the cognitive load is now owned by the agentic application, not the human. And so that's the level of productivity we can now bring to the enterprise. Then we have a full communication area, so you can communicate to your stakeholders, you can communicate to suppliers. You have all of the contextual communications based on the templates that have been built. Where the magic happens, the specialist agents. So this is extremely robust area where you create all of the specialist agents, leveraging all of the capabilities that we have. So you can create workflow agents using nodes that we deliver to optimize AI automations as part of these agentic applications. We have all the tools that are available for you, so you get access to read, write, update, not only data and access to Fusion business objects, but external business objects as well. You can connect to any external REST endpoint outside of our system. We also have connectors. So if you need to grab data, unstructured or structured data from other systems, you can do that and use that as context in an agentic application. We have memory. I need more memory. Short, long-term memory that is part of the system. And then we have guardrails that you can add to the agentic application to make sure it stays on topic and those types of things. I'll talk about guardrails later as a system attribute that we have, but these are guardrails for an agentic application, or the decisioning layer. Policy models or policy nodes. This was a huge addition, ton of value that we're delivering to be able to take large policy documents, large standard operating procedure documents, and use AI to translate them. It might be a 200-page benefit document that you're looking at, or a very large set of contracts and contractual terms and clauses that you want to put into a deterministic codified policy node that we auto-generate tests for it. So we generate this codified policy. It's 100% accurate. You can test it to make sure all the questions that you ask, maybe about eligibility or standard operating procedure, get answered over and over consistently. And then you can run this 1 time, 100 times, 1 million times without using a single token. So what we do is we use AI to translate these documents into a codified artifact. And once that's there, we run the business object over that policy node to come out with the answer every single time. So if I was looking at benefits eligibility, I would look at the person object, and I would have information like the assignment, how many hours the person worked, what country they're in, what union they're in, and have a bunch of attributes of the person. I'd run it through the policy node for benefits eligibility, and it will tell me 100% of the time accurately, is it benefits eligible, not eligible, not enough information, what is the next action you need to take? So these policy nodes are completely deterministic, but we use AI to create these codified artifacts, and we test them. And you can reuse these in any agentic application over and over again. So huge value there. Then we have human in the loop, human approvals. This is where you can pause any agentic process. You can, will maintain the state of it, the context of it. We'll wait for the approval to come back, and then we'll carry on the next steps in the process. Now, the key thing here is, and a big value is, this works natively with all of the Fusion workflows that you've already created. So if you already have a workflow, understands the hierarchy, understands the rules, knows when to give an FYI notification if they haven't approved it, all of those don't have to be redone. Completely respects that, and it's completely secure to the Fusion Foundation. So the key is, though, we are looking at, and everybody should be looking at, the levels of autonomy that we want to enable. And so human in the loop is always there. You can always have a human approve something or an action be taken by a human, but more and more over time, that autonomy dial is going to go up, and some of these lower risk with guardrail transactions are going to happen just autonomously. Now we go to the add phase where we add context. So context truly is key. And context is a knowledge store. So we have an enterprise knowledge store. We included content intelligence, a brand new capability for us, where we store all of the enterprise context. So we can bring information in from Fusion. You might have service descriptions of a service ticket that you want to store in the context store. You might have contract information that you want to store in our knowledge store, our vector store. But you can also pull information in from any third party. So you might be grabbing policy documents from SharePoint or Box, or collaboration tools like Slack or Teams or Jira. Or you might be crawling the web using Firecrawl. And you can bring, or Tavily, you can bring this information in, or you can play the content where it lies, completely secure, into our knowledge store, so we can add better relevant context to the agents. And we go beyond just semantic context. We have other primitives like textual context, so you can add metadata on top of what we deliver, so you always get the right context to the right agent at the right time. And then we have connectors. Connectors are great. So if you need to pull data from an external system, we've delivered over 100 connectors, but you can use no code or you can use pro code to create connectors either via natural language or a full pro code environment where you can grab the API specs, drop them into Codex, and create whatever connector that you want to whatever system you want, and bring in data and use it in an agentic application. So we're going to continue to deliver connectors, but 100% you can build all of these connectors via natural language and via the pro code environment right in VS Code using our CLI and AI Agent Studio skill. Now, this is the testing and simulation area. Metro, as part of AI Agent Studio, will continue to be there for testing LLM as a judge and doing those types of things. This is for the pro code environment, where I truly believe that this type of testing and simulation that we can now generate is the future of testing these agentic systems. We actually create a data set that goes along with the agentic application and the agents and workflow agents that sit underneath them. So we can grab live data and we create a test bed, so you don't have to worry about what environment you're in. And these agentic applications and these agents are very difficult to test, especially when you have a lot of branching logic. You're trying to optimize for a model, cost, performance, accuracy, different models you want to evaluate. We've enabled a model optimization sweep that I showed you, where we can swap out cheaper models or less expensive models and still get the same result. You don't want to use GPT 5.6 heavy for every single action that you take, every single LLM call. Cost will be astronomical. So you want to be able to use a model that's going to get you the exact right answer that you're looking for at the cheapest cost possible. That is the future of agentic development. We're delivering that in our system today. And Atlas, as a testing automation suite that's gets delivered as part of the AI Studio skill, is available, and you can augment it. You can add to it. So it's great. It truly is the future of how we will deliver agentic applications. As somebody said, we have a proper debugging solution now. So if you've gotten past all those other ways to test and you still want to get in and roll up your sleeves, put your builder vest on and get into debugging a workflow agent node by node, doing replay, looking at inputs, outputs, variables, context, rerunning a workflow, all of that can be done with the debugging capability that we've delivered. We've also delivered a prompt playground, which allows you for completion prompts to compare the prompt itself, see what the words are that you're changing, and then see what the outcome is that the agent is delivering. And so we've given you a lot of low-level ways and very, very systematic ways to debug these agents. But we even go beyond that. We will tell you in the 26C environment, we will tell you where you have errors, and we will also, through natural language, say, hey, these are things you should probably correct. You want us just to take care of it for you? And that's where these agentic development platforms are going. We're delivering that now. Then we have guardrails and security built in. So this is where we start to leverage some of the OCI services. So the OCI services are a kind of a net to catch a lot of things like jailbreaks or prompt injection. We encrypt all the PII data in transit. We always have zero data retention, but we make sure of it through some of these guardrails. And then we have the same security that is always available. And this is one of the key value propositions about building these agentic applications as part of the system of record. All of the same security that we have for permissions, for data level, functional level security exists. So the exact same compliance posture that we have with Fusion applications, we have with Fusion agentic applications, which is ground zero for enterprise AI. I call this the accountability layer, and this is what you absolutely have to have from an auditability and a traceability perspective. Every single agentic action that we take in the system, we track and we trace. And so we know who did it, what they did, when they did it, what data was changed, what tools were invoked, what data was read or written, what models were used, a trace of every single transaction, and we log it. And if you want to take it into an external system and do your own auditing and reporting, you can do that. But without this level of traceability and auditability, there's just no way you can deploy an enterprise AI system. We have it for all of our agentic applications, and not only do we have it? I mean, this is a baseline level as you start to think about more autonomous transactions. So some of these transactions will happen without a user being involved because you put the right guardrails in place. But you can always go back and audit what happened, what decision was made, and why it was made. So as you start to think about moving up the autonomy dial, which is where the real value starts to show itself, traceability is critical. Okay. And then we can deploy this as a Fusion runtime artifact. So this is like the holy grail. You don't have to go and build this agentic application bundle and then go deploy it on some other Kubernetes tenant somewhere else, some other runtime system, and make sure it's secure. Once you're done, you deploy this as a runtime Fusion artifact directly in Fusion applications, and in a matter of minutes, you're up and running with the entire agentic bundle as a Fusion runtime artifact as part of the system. And we support it, we upgrade it, we update it. All those things are part of the standard process that we deliver as part of Fusion applications. So it becomes a full Fusion runtime artifact. Okay, now comes a time where you get the details of where you can start building and what you need to have. Let me jump in quickly, and I'm going to show you. We've delivered a GitHub, a public GitHub. I'm going to give you the URL. You can see it here, but I have a QR code, so you don't have to write it down right now. Full QR code, GitHub. I'm going to drill in and show you what's available here. So I have not only the extension, the CLI, the AI Studio skill. I'll show you where all that is. We've seeded a bunch of sample applications. So you can see the sample applications here, and we'll continue to seed more. They will have READMEs, they will have the business objects that you can use. And so this is part of what you will get access to. I'm going to show you this more in just a second. Let me go back to the code area. We also have, in the release, we also have a how-to guide. So I'm going to show you a little bit in the how-to guide here in just a second. I'm going to go into the terminal. Going into terminal mode will be fun, but here is a full instructions on what you need to do to install VS Code, codecs, the skill, clone the environment. So I'm going to jump in, and we're going to jump into the terminal here. Now I could go into VS Code and do this. I'm going a little bit off script here. Let me jump in to, I need my document because I can't remember all of the, all right, so let me jump right in here and open up my document. What I'm going to do is show you, and you can copy these. I'm just going to go ahead and clone this environment. We've gone terminal mode here. Just like this, I'm going to take this environment, and I cloned it into my instance. There's additional skills, like in the future, I could look at Git. Oh, let me jump into Studio, so I'm in the right folder. But once you clone this, you can go back to Git pull and see the status of what you've done, and it's already up to date. So we will add more content for you, but I've now brought this in, and I can run this in VS Code, and so I can go and grab that directory. Hopefully, I'm in the right space, and it's right here. And I've grabbed that directory, and it is available now. I've cloned it, and all of the same apps are available here. And these will be used as sample apps for you when you are building the system. It has business objects built in. All of this is available here. And you can manage your folder structure how you want. You can use this folder structure. You can copy folders. You can copy it into the application areas and examples into another folder, so you have all that access. I'm just going to show you one more thing in my directory here, then we'll jump back into PowerPoint, and we'll finish this up. This is my live directory here, so let's not get crazy. I'm going to show you where the extensions are. So in the release 26C, this is release 26C, in the bin here, you have all of the artifacts that you need to get started today. So we have the extension here. So this is a VS Code extension. I showed you when I was building the demo. You can unzip this, go into extensions, and pick it up. It'll add that extension for you. We have the skill here. This is the core skill that has all the knowledge and the best practices on how to build agentic apps. And then we're going to start to add more and more skills that are application functional specific to give you more functional domain knowledge as you're building. So you are now fully enabled. And I'm going to give you the QR code to go get access to VS Code. So you now have access to the Git repository. So if you jump on this, you have full access to the Git repository. There's a great video in there, a lot of information. You are fully enabled. And then I will end here. And we will end with just a couple things. First, thank you for attending this LinkedIn Live. After this session, you are completely enabled. You have everything you need to start building. I'm excited to see some of the agentic applications that you're going to build. So if you post up some on LinkedIn and tag me, I will review it for you and give you a great review. And this is just one of the great parts of 26C, AI Studio 26C, tons of great capabilities in there. You should be super excited about what's delivered. So I thank you for attending. Put on your builder's vest when you start building, and we'll see you in a couple months at the next LinkedIn Live. Thank you very much.